from our college and other college too. Welcome you all once again. Thank you all.
Dr. Sarai, Assistant Professor, Source Person. A warm afternoon to one all gathered here in the virtual platform. With immense pleasure, I introduce our revered guest of the day, Dr. Sudhir Mathpati, Associate Professor of English from Adarsh Mahavidyalaya, Osmanabad. To brief about his academic profile, Sir has got more than a decade of teaching experience. He has done his master's in MA from Ferguson College, Maharashtra, MPhil from Open University, his doctoral degree from SRTM University, Maharashtra. His keen interest on research paved a great way for guiding many research scholars. Sir is a member in the Board of Studies at Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar Marathwada University. His pursuit towards research is applauded with three minor research projects on science fiction and Black literature by UGC. He has been awarded as the National Builder Award, that is the Best Teacher Award, and Academic Excellence Award from various forums. He has delivered many guest lectures, technical sessions in national and international seminars and conferences. He has published more than 20 research articles, 4 anthologies, and currently working on science fiction. To add to his credit, he is an editor-in-chief at Literary Cognizance and also an associate editor at Literary Endeavor. He is an active personality in social media. Can get in touch with him with his YouTube channel on English Garden. In addition to his academic excellence, he authored book on Kamala Das and autobiographical elements, which stands as a notable literary contribution to the learning minds. His academic accomplishments goes on a long list, and we are delighted to have such an eminent speaker for today's session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Shall I start?
So you should.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let us start. Pranam and good afternoon, one and all. Thank you so much for introducing me very, artistically, aesthetically rather, to the participants. The way you have introduced me, in fact, it has increased the weight of responsibility, upon my shoulder, and it has informed me indirectly to present the assigned topic very effectively before you all. I will definitely try my best to do so. Just a second. Friends, at the outset, let me extend the gratitude towards respected principal of PSG College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, the convener of this academic venture, my senior friend, philosopher and guide, Dr. Ilamaran, sir, the coordinator of this 3-day faculty development program, Maha Lakshmi ji, and another coordinator, T. Palaniswamy ji, for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to be the part of this 3 day national level faculty development program on recent trends in English language and literature, and share few views of mine, or we can say words about the recent trends in science fiction literature. Here, friends, today the topic given to me or allotted to me is the emerging trends in science fiction literature, and we are going to discuss, this topic by exploring some threads like, what is science fiction, or origin of science fiction. There was one phase which is called as golden phase or golden phase of science fiction. Then we have new wave, and the most prominent contemporary term that we have, cyberpunk. Glimpses, we will have some glimpses of contemporary science fiction works, and some what we can say emerging trends in science fiction literature that we all have been experiencing in today's scenario. So friends, in this way, our today's talk is going to occur, or it will proceed in this way, and hope you will definitely enjoy it. So one more thing, friends, in fact, I'm extremely sorry for the inconvenience, as I could not prepare any PowerPoint presentation or PPT due to the short span of time and preparation that we have been preparing for the NAC, and we have the NAC peer team visit very soon on coming 11th of May 2023. So once again, I apologize for the same. But friends, here I will definitely try my best to give justice to the allotted topic, which is recent trends in science fiction literature. So here, friends, we'll begin with the first thread that, in brief, I have already told you the outline or the direction of our today's talk. So here at first, we'll begin with what is science fiction, or how we can define it, or what we understand as far as the term science fiction is concerned. So here, friends, the science fiction genre, or the science fiction, is one of the no doubt emerging genres, and particularly in our country, in our nation, that's India. It has been widely taken into account for writing, for research purpose, and its exploration from different points of view. There are a number of entry points through which we can enter in the realm of science fiction. Here, friends, as far as our country is concerned, India is concerned, there are some writers like Satyajit Ray, we have Narayan Darab, then Dr. Jayant Narlikar sir, Vandana Singh, Samit Basu, R.B. Chatterjee, Anil Menon, Niranjan Ghate, Bal Phonke, or Dr. Gajanan Phonke, and so on. So, friends, all these writers have been exploring various issues through their writings, and they have been just trying to have people's attention towards the science fiction genre or science fiction literature, we can say. Yeah, friends, as it has been rightly pointed out by our respected Dr. Sri Narahari sir in his research paper, one of the research papers written by him. And the title of that paper is Recent Trends in Indian Science Fiction. Here, friends, I would like to quote one of his, quote which was mentioned in that particular paper. I quote: "Writing science fiction in India has become a nationwide movement now." Here, there are some figures like Gusmurti in Kannada, then we have Sujata in Tamil, we have Gokulananda Mahapatra in Oriya, then K.R.K. Mohan in Telugu, then Radha Krishnan in Malayalam, Anil Agrawal and Dilip Salve in Delhi, Mewari and Mishra in Hindi, Gopal Arora in Rajasthan. Then we have Dinesh Chandra Goswami in Asmi and Izar Asar in Urdu, and other there are some other figures as well who wrote science fiction in vernacular languages. The stories so published by them were all aimed at the social, cultural, and literary development of science and technology. So ultimately, it comes to the science and technology. So, friends, here science fiction is a genre of literature. It is a genre of what we can say movie or film and other media as well. And it explores imaginative and speculative ideas about the future or what we can say alternative realities or scientific and technological advancement. Here, friends, this science fiction genre often it brings together the elements of science, technology, and fantasy to create unique and what we can say, it tries to compel narratives or a typical picture highlighting science, technology, and fantasy for its readers, like you and me, of course. Here, friends, this genre called science fiction usually is set in the future or in an alternative reality, and it often explores themes related to space exploration. We have artificial intelligence, then we have time travel. You all might be familiar with the renowned work Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Then there is another idea, extraterrestrial life, and other such scientific concepts are there. But here, friends, as far as the definition of this science fiction is concerned, here about this as Asimo defines it as, I quote, science fiction is the study of the impact of science and technology over humanity. So here, friends, I personally feel that, I personally think that the definition or the way Asimo defines science fiction, it's a very much, very brief, but very comprehensive definition. Here, friends, finally, it shows the impact of advancement in science and technology on humanity or society. Because we all know very well that it's a phase, it's a postmodern phase, it's a 21st century, and it has really become difficult to point it out whether we all people are being manipulated by science and technology, or science and technology is being manipulated by us. I think it's a very tough question before us in today's scenario. But here, the definition, other definition rather, given by Dr. Nararikar sir, and he points out as, I quote, it is the study of change in the attitude of the people by the advent of technology, I unquote. So here, friends, these are the two basic definitions with which we can understand what exactly science fiction means, or what are the different ideologies, what are the different themes, what are the different what we can say elements of this genre which can be incorporated in science fiction. So here, friends, after this, when we move towards its origin, or as far as its origin or some early science fiction are concerned, science fiction is a genre that has evolved and developed over several centuries, no doubt, and beginning with early works which had explored the possibilities of science and technology or advancement in science and technology, and continuing through this stream to the present day, which is postmodern one. So as far as science fiction is concerned, it is clear that science fiction continues to be a popular and influential genre in literature, not only in written literature only, but movies, television or television shows or series, web series as well, and other such media. Friends, it means it has a very long history, but still the roots of science fiction can be, traced back to ancient mythology, folklore, and epic tales, and incorporated fantastical elements and imagined worlds in this stream called science fiction. But still, it can be what we can say traced out from the works of Jules Verne or his journey to the center of the earth, which was published in 1864. Then we have H.G. Wells, as just I have told you, renowned piece of science fiction, The Time Machine, which was published in 1895. And we have another well recognized and popular piece of science fiction, that is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. So we can mention such science fiction works, and it can be considered as the beginning of science fiction. But I personally feel that these works are considered as the earliest examples of this science fiction genre, and we can easily explore it in today's scenario as well. Yeah, friends. Actually, science fiction is a way of is a typical way for authors to imagine new world possibilities and technologies, and to explore their potential implications on humanity, society, and the globe. As just I have told you, friends, it's a very difficult phase. It's a very difficult rather phase in which we all have a great confusion as far as advancement in the field of science and technology is concerned. So it has both the threads, both the streams, positive and negative. So it's our turn that which thread or which stream we are supposed to acquire. Accordingly we need to dwell, accordingly we need to live our lives. Friends, it is frequently pointed out. It may happen, or it might have happened in your life as well. It is frequently pointed out that science fiction is the literature of ideas, or science fiction is the literature of change, rather. So we come across with these kinds of statements. It is quite notable that the culture or civilization is dynamically undergoing a lot of changes day by day because of the scientific and technological progress and the development, no doubt. And we are very much familiar about this stream. The term that in day-to-day life we come across, that is artificial intelligence and all. So we all know it very well. But friends, the advancement in the field of science and technology has also been, increasing in the world, and simultaneously human life is being operated, or another word which have which may be put in a negative manner, that is manipulated by machines and technology. So it is very necessary to study, understand, and analyze the reflection and representation of these kinds of changes in literature, which have been depicted in the obviously light of science, technology, its advancement, and fantasy, as far as science fiction or science fiction literature is concerned. Here, friends, when we talk about science and literature, in fact, these two are different terms. But as far as science and literature are concerned, at surface, it seems that the science and literature are, two different poles, and both of them have nothing with each other. But science and literature are obviously two different poles which are very far from each other. But renowned writer from our state, Maharashtra, respected Dr. Ratnakar Belkar sir, has rightly pointed out in his one of the books, and he in the preface itself he argues I quote, science concerns with facts, reasons, causes, and effect. And literature too deals with facts, but in it, facts are presented in modified forms. I unquote. So, friends, science fiction literature, obviously, it is plausible one, it is plausible literature. Facts are there. But all those facts which are related with science and technology are presented in modified forms or in modified format. So, it means literature modifies the existing facts to create something new and what we can say sensational for its readers and society. And these kinds of modified facts or modifications can be called or they deserve to be called as fantasy. Friends, here, as initially I told you, the period from 1920 to 1930 is called as the golden age as far as science fiction literature is concerned. Here, friends, during this span, 1920 to 1930, science fiction experienced a surge in popularity with the emergence of several influential magazines such as Amazing Stories and Astounding Science Fiction and so on. So this period is always referred to as the golden age of science fiction, and we all experienced the rise of many famous science fiction authors like Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke. Then we have Henlin, Robert A. Henlin, and so on. There are a number of figures. Friends, the new way after this, when we move towards the new wave of science fiction, which emerged during the span of 10 years from 1960 to 1970. And it has been, characterized by a more literary and experimental style. And this new wave movement, rather, was led by authors such as we have Ursula K. Le Guin, we have Samuel Delaney, or these are the authors who explore themes of gender, race, and politics, culture in their works. And in 1980, the what we can cyberpunk, the subgenre emerged, which combined or which is the result of combination or combined elements of science fiction and non-fiction to create dystopian world. Here, friends, we can have the example of renowned example rather, William Gibson's popular work Neuromancer, which was published in I think 1984, and it is considered seminal works of the cyberpunk movement. Here, friends, but we all know it very well that the term cyberpunk and science fiction literature or science fiction literature based on this term called cyberpunk is being explored a lot in today's scenario, and we all know it very well. If I'm not wrong, most probably the term called post-human or humanism that we are going to discuss today is being explored widely. So here, cybernetics, or what we can say, there are some other words which have come out from cyberpunk. So here, cyberpunk means it is a science or a technology rather studying control and communication in the human beings or animal and the machine. And on the other hand, the other word which is called punk, it was a youth movement which terrorized the world in 1970s and early phase or early span of 1980s. So here, friends, here one prominent figure, I must mention his name. Bruce Baitke was the first figure who had originated the term, and it was the title of his short story, that is Cyberpunk, and it was published in 1983. In short, cyberpunk fiction deals with high technology, including artificial intelligence and virtual reality. So these two terms are also very much familiar in today's scenario. Yeah, friends, today science fiction, no doubt, continues to be, a very much popular, very influential genre of literature with its wide range of authors, ideas, different themes. But science fiction, or science fiction literature explores a variety of topics, variety of ideas are there, variety of different themes are there. From space exploration, right from space exploration to artificial intelligence and the contemporary one, climate change or climate fiction or cli-fi, the abbreviated form of climate fiction are there. There are some most popular, contemporary science fiction writers, authors like Neil Stephenson is there. Then Octavia Butler. We have China Mieville, and so on. But here, science fiction has also, been a major influential. There are so many film or movies with which we are familiar, and those movies are based on the science fiction works by renowned science fiction writers. Here, if I'm not wrong, we all are, familiar with the Star Wars and the Matrix Revolution, and these Star Wars and the Matrix, these have become the touchstones in the postmodern era when we look towards these kinds of pieces of literature, other science fiction literature in our contemporary period. Yeah, friends, no doubt science fiction is the most relevant or prominent influential genre of literature in 21st century. But friends, science fiction, could acquire this place due to the rapidly advancing technological developments. Then we have global political changes and environmental challenges as well. And these are the some of the prominent reasons due to which it has become very much prominent and very much influential in today's scenario. Friends, science fiction provides a way for people to imagine and explore the possibilities and consequences of these changes under the umbrella of science and technology, or rather advanced science and technology. So, in the 21st century, science fiction has continued to address issues related to artificial intelligence. We have robotics, we have virtual and augmented reality. We have space exploration, as just I have told you. We have the additional component to this, colonization. We have post-apocalyptic future, and more such elements or threads are there, which are being focused and explored by science fiction in 21st century. And these themes and ideas reflect the real world challenges we face, or the challenges that we face in today's scenario as a society, or as a human being, or as an individual. And such as we can incorporate the threads like ethical question that just I have told you, that it has really become difficult to point out whether we are being manipulated by science and technology or science is being manipulated by us. And such as ethical question about the use of technology, climate change, and the possibility of space travel and colonization, and so on and so on. So, friends, science fiction also, continues to be a popular genre for entertainment, with numerous blockbuster movies are there. There are some TV shows, and recently some video games have also been developed and being produced. And this is the result of this science fiction literature and its popularity that just I have told you. So, no doubt it has become very much influential in our contemporary span or phase. And these works often, try to bring together or try to bring science fiction, different science fiction concepts and themes to a wider audience, and stimulating, imagination, and sparking conversations about the future of technology and humanity, or some, typical kind of anticipation is there with the help of fantasy, science, and technology. And that's why it obviously creates its impression among the people in the society. Friends, here, overall speaking, science fiction remains a relevant and influential genre in our contemporary phase, or in 21st century rather, no doubt. And this genre helps us to explore the possibilities and implications of our rapidly changing society and the world. So, friends, now we'll shift, or this is the time to shift, or discuss some crucial emerging trends which are there in science fiction literature. Friends, there are many trends, or ideas or themes which have become very much popular and quite dominant in our contemporary streams of science fiction literature. But we'll talk only about few trends, or a few streams, or few ideas, like climate fiction, or I have told you cli-fi, Afrofuturism. We have post-apocalyptic fiction, science fiction. We have artificial intelligence and robotics. We have post-humanism. Then we have space exploration and colonization again. And we have virtual reality and augmented reality as well. So, besides, we can categorize all this science fiction in soft, hard, and core science fiction streams. That's a different part. But here, today, we are going to touch 5 to 6 emerging trends or recent trends which are very much popular, or which have become very much popular as far as science fiction literature is concerned. So, friends, let us begin with the first one, that is climate fiction. Your friends, climate fiction, are also called as cli-fi, I have told you. Actually, friends, today we all have been, exploring the details of environmental issues, and it has become the, need of the hour, no doubt. It is true that the climate has become, pressing issue, and many science fiction writers are exploring the potential consequences of, global warming and environmental damage in their science fiction literature or science fiction works. So, in this way or that way, these sci-fi writers who deal with climate fiction or climate science fiction, they talk about the consequences of all these things that rightly, include global warming and environmental damage to the earth or society or people on the earth. So here, this is a kind of speculative fiction which deals with and focuses on the effects of climate change and the environmental disasters, natural disasters on human beings, society, or globe. So, in fact, climate fiction, or cli-fi, is a relatively new subgenre, no doubt, that emerged in the early 21st century, and as it has grown in a very short span of time, and it has got popularity in recent years, reflecting the growing awareness of environmental issues and their potential to depict the impact on humanity, society, or globe. So, friends, this climate fiction has also touched various genres, like genres of literature, rather, novella, novels, short stories, and movies, and some series TV series on the television as well. We have here, I would like to give the example of Kim Stanley Robinson's New York 2140. Here we have the example of Margaret Atwood's Mad Adam. So it's a trilogy. These are the perfect examples of climate fiction where it always imagines and anticipates a future in which the effect of climate change or the effect of environmental damage or its influence on human beings, society, or globe are nicely depicted. Here, friends, one of the appreciable or defining feature or hallmarks of climate fiction is its focus on the real world science of climate change. And here, friends, the authors of climate fiction incorporate scientific research and some numerical data, particularly, or some survey-based data into their work and anticipate the plausible picture of the future. So plausible in the sense, once we deal with these kinds of climate fiction, so we can easily believe in their composition, we can easily believe with the help of the data and scientific research presented by that particular writer in that particular piece of science fiction literature. So here, friends, this scientific grounding and plausibility gives the fiction a sense of urgency and what we can say relevance rather, and it encourages readers to consider the real world implications of climate change and the need of action or what we are supposed to do, what are the responsibility of all of us being the citizen of the country, how we need to live, what are the protocols we need to follow. So all these things are there. And after dealing with these kinds of climate fiction, we may come across or we may realize all these things. Here, friends, then we have Afro-futurism, which is nothing but the amalgamation of African culture and technology. So it's a combined term, Afrofuturism. It is nothing but the combination of African culture and technology or science and technology. So friends, here this channel explores the intersection of African culture and technology. It often presents the modified history and criticizes the power structures or different power structures that we have in the society. Here, friends, Afrofuturism is a cultural movement which combines the elements of science fiction, fantasy, speculative fiction rather. Then, but while doing this, it does so with the cultural experiences of people of African descent. In fact, friends, it is an artistic and literary movement which talks about the alternate realities that center on Black experiences, culture, and history as well. So, friends, this term called Afro futurism was coined in 1990 by cultural critic Mark Terry in his essay "Black to the Future." Since then, or since 1990, the movement has grown to encompass a wide range of artistic expressions, including music, film, literature, visual art, and fashion as well. Here, friends, as far as the examples or there are certain examples of Afrofuturism, or the examples of Afrofuturism are concerned. We can rightly mention the title called Hindered by Octavia Butler. This Butler's work is a time travel novel which explores themes of race and identity in both past and future. The story follows a young Black woman named Dana who suddenly finds herself transported back in typical time zone where she must confront the harsh realities of slavery and racism. Now, here, slavery and racism, I personally feel so, I personally think so. These two terms are enough to understand the influence or the significance of Afro American literature in today's scenario. So, this touch has also been given to this Afrofuturism or such types of fiction. Here, friends, we have the Afro-American, writers, and we all are familiar with them. Like Toni Morrison is there, then Richard Wright is there, Alice Walker is there, and all these Afro-American writers who rightly talked about the elements like that I have just told you, racism and slavery. These are the two terms, but besides these two, there are subjugation, oppression, suppression, identity crisis, then racism, and then gender crisis, slavery. So these kinds of things are there, and many such issues are there. But still, Butler's Kindred is a completely different piece of literature, and the application of time travel keeps this unique piece of literature completely away from mainstream writing, and puts it in the canon of science fiction work, or rather Afrofuturism category of science fiction literature. So here, friends, Kindred is an example of Afrofuturism, or being an example of Afrofuturism. It rightly uses science fiction, the elements of science fiction to explore and criticize the history of black oppression in America. Butler here tries to create a powerful narrative which may talk, or which talks about the ongoing struggle for equality and justice and right. And to do so, Butler tries to blend the time travel with the experience of Black Americans or Afro Americans. Here, friends, after discussing this Afrofuturism, now we'll move towards post apocalyptic fiction. Here, friends, this genre or this term is very much popular, and this genre has been renowned for some time. But recent works have explored some new points of views, like the aftermath of pandemic, or the collapse of social media the driven societies, and these kinds of some threads or structures have been incorporated in this post apocalyptic kinds of works. So here, friends, post apocalyptic fiction is a genre of literature which focuses on aftermath of catastrophic event that has fundamentally changed the world we know very well, or in which we have been dwelling living, and that has been abruptly it gets changed. The genre, or this particular genre, typically it has feature, or this genre typically features or the stories which come under this category of science fiction literature. The stories are set in a world that has been devastated, badly devastated by a global disaster, such as a nuclear war, or pandemic, COVID pandemic that recently we all have gone through it, then environmental catastrophe, environmental disasters, or alien invasion, and so on. So these kinds of threats that we find in post-apocalyptic scenario or science fiction. Here, friends, one of the key characteristics or features of this post-apocalyptic fiction is the depiction of the world in which the structures of society have completely broken down, and humanity is forced to start again from the beginning. It means if they have to survive, if they have to live, then they have to start it from right from the beginning. So friends, this often leads to the formation of new communities which must learn to survive in a world with limited resources under the constant fear and botheration. So here, post-apocalyptic fiction, as many forms, as earlier also I have told you, novels are there, short stories are there, different films are there. We have War of the World, renowned movie, and the science fiction work by H.G. Wells is there. There are some television series as well. Here, friends, we can mention some of, rightly mention or give examples or some of the well-known examples of this type of fiction. Here we can mention Cormac McCarthy's The Road, and George Miller's Mad Max series. So these two are the examples, or these two could be the examples of this particular genre. Here, friends, as far as the renowned piece of science fiction, The Road, is concerned, it is very much a proper example of post-apocalyptic science fiction. I personally feel so. It is so because it explores not only the physical challenges of survival in a devastated world, but it also deals with the emotional and psychological toll that such as existence can take on individuals and so on. So the this piece also raises some significant questions about the nature of humanity and the morality of survival, as the characters are forced to make difficult choices and confront the darker aspects of human nature. And due to all these features, due to all these strong elements or aspects, rather, it comes under the category of post-apocalyptic. Here, friends, after having seen few examples of post-apocalyptic, science fiction works, we'll move towards the most touching and crazy trend, which has been quite dominant in our contemporary science fiction, and that is artificial intelligence and robotics. Here, friends, as technology advances in the same way, the role of artificial intelligence and robotics in society, it has become very much significant, and we all have seen that science fiction writers have been exploring the ethical implications of these technologies and their potential impact on society and the entire globe. Friends, artificial intelligence, or its abbreviated form AI, and robotics are quite, these two are quite emerging trends in science fiction literature. And these trends explore the possibilities and consequences of creating intelligent, advanced machines that can perform complex jobs or tasks and interact with human brain as well. So this is the very prominent aspect of this category or this genre of science fiction. Friends, artificial intelligence and robotics have been quite popular themes in science fiction literature for decades or more, with many authors and filmmakers as well, and we are witness of it. Friends, here one of the most I personally think that one of the most common themes in artificial intelligence and robotics science fiction is the idea of a machine becoming very much responsive and developing consequences, which can lead to the questions about the nature of intelligence and the ethical implications of creating intelligent machines. We are familiar with movies that recently came into force, like Robot by Rajnikant, then Ravan, Shah Rukh Khan was there. Recently, I have seen one movie of John Abraham, Attack. So these are the perfect examples of artificial intelligence. If you have not seen the movie Attack, in which John Abraham is in lead role, I request you to see this movie and you will realize what artificial intelligence is. So how it is the mixture of human brain and machine, how it deals with the machine or machine related jargons or machine related elements with human anatomy. So these are the examples of artificial intelligence and robotics, and no doubt it has become very much popular in today's scenario. Dear friends, artificial intelligence and robotic science fiction or robotics, it always looks for the potential benefits and what we can say drawbacks of the technologies, or how it could be or it may be come before us in very devastative manner, in a very devastative scenario. So this is the genre, or this is the trend, artificial intelligence and robotics, which deals with all these things. On the contrary to this, or on the other hand, robots and artificial intelligence can perform tasks that are too dangerous or difficult for humans, and it can properly improve efficiency and productivity in a variety of industries. So it can be used in a positive manner wherever we want. But on the contrary to this, if we take it negatively, then see what will happen. And I think the same kind of one of the scenes is there in the movie called Robots, in which we have Rajinikanth. So this is one of the threads that we have to think about whenever we deal, or whenever we talk, or whenever we think about artificial intelligence and robotics. Here, friends, no doubt these are the products, or these are the strong machines rather, which can provide or give a kind of companionship and support to humans. And the same is presented, as I have given you already three examples or three different movies, or names of those three different movies. We have another one called Her, which was directed by Spike zones, in which a man falls in love with an advanced system of artificial intelligence. And the same is there in that movie called Robot. So, friends, artificial intelligence and robotics, or robotic science fiction, provides a typical platform for exploring the possibilities and what we can say consequences rather of advanced technology or science and technology that are becoming increasingly relevant in the real world, that is in today's world, and we are very much familiar. We have been experiencing the same scenario today. So here, friends, by just examining the potential benefits and risks of these technologies, science fiction can help us to anticipate and navigate the challenges of an increasing automated future. So that's the term we will discuss now. After this, that is post-human or post-humanism and all. So it will be clear, or it will be crystal clear before you all once we talk, once we discuss post-humanism, or the term called post-humanism. Here, friends, one perfect example of science fiction, which talks about the themes of artificial intelligence and robotics, is another example, very renowned, Philip K. Dick's Do androids dream of electric sheep? Question mark. Here, friends, the setting of this science fiction is post-apocalyptic. Actually, post-apocalyptic world has been depicted in that particular work, where most animals have become extinct, and the remaining few are highly valued as sign of status and wealth. And this is the picture of this science fiction. Friends, in this post-apocalyptic world, the advanced robots are known as androids, and they are used as laborers and assistants. But they don't have any kind of access towards the earth due to their potential threat to human existence or society. And the main character called Rick Deckard performs the act of tracking or exploring the androids who have escaped to the earth. Here, friends, as the protagonist of this particular science fiction searches for more such androids. He becomes increasingly unsure of his own humanity and begins to question the nature of consequences, existed and free will. So these are the the ones he just tries to do so. He starts thinking about the nature of consequences existed and free will. So these kind of values, rather, what is sympathy, what is empathy, and so on. So overall speaking, friends, here Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is a truly thought-provoking example of artificial intelligence and robotic science fiction, and it raises some significant issues and questions about the relationship between human being and machine, and the potential or expected consequences of creating advanced technologies or advanced robot or advanced machine, which may blur the line between the two in coming days as well. Then, friends, we have to talk and discuss the term or the another prominent trend rather that we find in science fiction literature, that is post-humanism. Here, friends, post-humanism is very popular and dominating emerging trend that we find in science fiction, and it explores the possibilities and consequences of human enhancement and evolution beyond our current biological form. Here, friends, it can accommodate, or it has the themes like transhumanism. Then again, we have to incorporate artificial intelligence in it. Again, we have cyborgs. We have already talked about cyberpunk and all. So these kinds of themes are there. We can talk about matrix revolution. This could also be the example of this post-humanism. Here, friends, post-humanism raises the questions about what it means to be, a human, the ethics of altering our biology or creating artificial life, and the potential, consequences of such advancement or modifications. Here, friends, many science fiction works like Blade Runner. Then we have Ghost in the Shell. So these kinds of science fiction works are there which have explored post-humanism in depth and continue to inspire new stories and ideas and new themes rather in this genre of science fiction. So friends, here post-humanism is a philosophical and cultural movement rather that questions traditional notions of humanism and the centrality of the human in society. Here, friends, the post-humanism is greatly concerned with the ways in post-humanism, and it is no doubt emerging stream or trend in science fiction, which rightly explores the implications of advanced technology and its again impact on humanity, society, or globe. Friends, Friends, here this post-humanism is concerned with the way in which technology and culture are changing our understanding of what it means to be human, and it often features characters who have been modified or augmented through technology. Here we can rightly talk or mention some notable examples of this post-humanism, like William Gibson's Neuromancer is there, then Richard K. Morgan's Altered Carbon is there. So these two could be the perfect examples of post-humanism. Here, friends, we have seen that the way William Gibson's Neuromancer explores a world in which individuals can connect to a virtual reality network known as the Matrix, and the characters are able to enhance their abilities and perceptions through technology. So this is the depiction of William Gibson in his Neuromancer. And as far as Richard K. Morgan's Altered Carbon is concerned, it also runs in the same way, where characters are able to transfer their consciousness between different bodies. And that's the reason it is called as post-humanism, where humanism ends, post-humanism starts from the same point. And after discussing this one, another very common one that we have to discuss in brief again, that is space exploration and colonization. Friends, it is also no doubt one of the prominent trends of science fiction literature. This subgenre of science fiction, talks about, or it imagines humanity's future beyond Earth as we explore and colonize other planets and even other, star system that we have in the galaxy and all. So it talks about all these things. This subgenre always involves, imagining the technologies and societal structures that would be necessary for space travel and colonization. It may also explore, sometimes the physical and psychological challenges of long-term space travel and living on other planets in a very, a typical scenario or typical circumstances. Here, friends, one of the key themes in space exploration and colonization science fiction is the idea of humanity expanding its reach beyond Earth, both to ensure its survival in the event of planetary catastrophe, and to satisfy its curiosity and desire for exploration. So this is what about, that is space. Whenever we talk about the term that is space travel and all, so this genre of science fiction deals with all these things in a very crucial way, in a very significant way. And when we talk about virtual reality and augmented reality, which can be rightly abbreviated as VR and AR. Here, friends, through this subgenre of science fiction writers explore the implications of virtual and augmented reality on society, including how it could change how we interact and experience the world with the help of advanced science, with the help of advanced technology. Friends, virtual reality or VR and augmented reality or AR are no doubt emerging streams that we find in science fiction literature, but it imagines new worlds and experiences beyond our physical reality, or if I say beyond physical existence, then I may not be wrong. So, friends, virtual reality here is a kind of technology which creates a simulated environment that users can interact with through specialized devices such as headsets or gloves or specs or a typical, attire. And when we talk about augmented reality, overlays or it overlays digital information onto the physical world through the use of smart devices like smartphone or any such smart device. So here, friends, one of the key elements or one of the key ideas or one of the key themes as far as VR and AR science fiction are concerned, here is the idea of escaping the limitations of physical reality and experiencing new levels of sensory and cognitive impression is one of the most significant elements of this genre of or this trend or stream of science fiction literature. Friends, these works may explore the potential of VR and AR for education, for entertainment, and even what we can say therapeutic purpose or any medical kind of purpose. So these are the things which are being presented before us in a very modified forms, in a very convincing way, in a very plausible way. And once we deal with these things so easily, we start believing in it. Friends, it is true that or it seems true that in recent years there have been a number of science fiction works which explore or talk about VR and AR, such as we have Ernest Cline's Ready Player One. It's novel. It takes place in a dystopian future where people spend most of their time in a virtual world called Oasis. Besides this one, William Gibson's new romance that just we have discussed, we have Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash, and these are the perfect examples of virtual reality and augmented reality. So here, friends, these are some of the trends. These are what we can say some of the ideas, or what we can say some of the mm, trends or emerging trends that we find that we all have been experiencing in science fiction literature. But besides all this, the crucial point, if I'm not wrong, every sci-fi writer or every sci-fi lover, whenever we deal with science fiction literature or whenever we come across with science fiction literature, that time finally I think one direct or indirect, I don't know, but one message that needs to be preserved, that needs to be kept in our mind and heart forever, that science and technology is for the progression, it is for the prosperity, it is for the development, it is for the smoothness of human beings, it is for the soundness of society, nation, and globe. But whenever we talk about the negative threats, or the whenever we start thinking about science and technology or its advancement in negative shades, that time I don't think that any kind of positive stream of thinking may come in our heart and mind. So for that reason, no matter whether it is utopian one, whether it is dystopian one, whether it is post-apocalyptic one, whether it is artificial intelligence, or whether it is virtual reality or augmented reality, whatever it is, but we have to respect science and technology while dwelling in this postmodern, scenario or postmodern era, and we have to proceed our life by giving proper justice and respect to the advancement in the field of science and technology. So, friends, uh, this is what I just wanted to share with you all today. And once again, thank you so much for your patient listening. And I hope it was not that much boring and monotonous. Once again, I'm extremely sorry for not coming before you with PPT. and extremely sorry for that. And I'm very much thankful to the principal of the college, convener, and coordinators for inviting me and providing me an opportunity to be the part of this national event and getting acquainted with you all through this academic venture. So, thank you so much. Thank you, one and all. Thank you so much. Are you there, Palanisomi? Are you there?
Yes, sir, we are.
The participants can post your questions or queries in the chat box.
Okay, okay, no issue.
Participants can also unmute your mic to ask questions.
Yeah, please do that. That would be better. They can.
Professor, a message is locked. We couldn't send messages here.
Chat box is unavailable, sir.
Chat box is not opening, sir.
Yes, chat box is not open.
We will check.
Chat box is
Dear participants, you can also ask questions. Unmute your mic and ask questions. Meanwhile, we'll enable the chat box for you.
ஜி ஹோம்ஸ் அதெல்லாமே பாப்பா இது ஒண்ணு வாங்கி போய் நீ போய் போட்டுட்டு வாடா குட்டி விடுவோம் பாப்பா ஆனந்த் கிட்ட
Professor,
பெருசா
text box is not
ரியல்
open.
வரும் ஃபர்ஸ்ட்ல
It's
இருந்து
muted, I believe.
நாங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட்ல இருந்து வரோம் ஆனந்த் நீயும் வா எங்களோட நாங்க அப்படியால ஃபர்ஸ்ட்ல இருந்து வர போறோம்
Sir, ma'am,
Chat box will enable it, madam.
Lock ஆயிடுச்சு.
இந்த குடி தள்ளு
Hello. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I have posted a question in the question answer session. Please answer me.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Could you give any example of post-humanism?
Yeah, neuromancer or the works written by William Gibson are the examples of post-humanism. I have given the examples while just talking about the term post-humanism and all. Hello.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
A very nice presentation about the contemporary issues.
Thank you. Thank
It is we are facing the artificial intelligence, chat GPT, like that.
you. Yes, yes, yes.
In that, can you give some examples of the latest cli-fi novels, sir,
Sorry.
please? Cli-fi novels, the climatic fiction novels.
Yeah, as far as
Can you give?
yeah, please continue, continue.
Yes, sir. I want to know some of the names and their authors of the
Yeah,
novels,
as far
sir.
as ma'am, cli-fi novels or cli-fi science fiction are concerned, I have told you that this is the most recent emerging trends or genres of science fiction, literature. And as far as cli-fi fictions are concerned, we can rightly mention the examples like Kim Stanley Robinson's New York 2140, then Margaret Atwood's Mad Adam. So these two examples that sorry. I just
Okay.
request to mute the mics of the participants.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your
You're welcome,
kind
welcome,
explanation.
welcome, ma'am, welcome.
Participants, if you have any
Is it?
questions, you shall unmute your mic.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, very good afternoon.
Hello. Yes, I just wanted to ask you a
Yes,
question.
yes.
What would you think about the negative shades of post-humanistic fiction? In your opinion, how do you look upon that?
Yeah. As far as post-humanistic or post-humanism is concerned and its negative shade is concerned, so again we have to take assistance of artificial intelligence in that. We have the examples of Matrix Revolution. William Gibson is there, who nicely deals with cyberpunk and all. We have the example of Neuromancer. But I have deliberately used one or two sentences in my talk that it is for the growth, it is for the prosperity, it is for the development of human being, development of individual, development of society, state and globe, if it is taken into account positively. If it is not taken into account positively, then the other aspect that it has really become difficult to point out whether we are being manipulated by machine or machines are being manipulated by us. So while just looking towards your question from the same glasses, from the same what we can say scenario, then I personally feel that if it comes before us in negative manner, then there would be a great devastation and it would be a kind of dystopian scenario. So for that reason, whenever the movie name, I just forgot to repeat it again, the movie called Attack, it is in Hindi, Bollywood, by John Abraham. Recently I have seen this movie on television. In fact, till that moment I did not have any idea about that movie, but once I start watching that movie, I came to know that the strong amalgamation of post-humanism and artificial intelligence is there, and this technology got uploaded, got inserted in human body, and that particular person or that particular human being who happens to be Indian soldier, and he used his potential to save the citizens, to save the politicians, or to save the terror attack on our particular country. So I personally feel that if it is taken into account positively, then it's good. But if it is not and it is taken into account negatively, then there would be a great devastation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Is there any relationship between the term fantasy and science fiction?
Sorry. Sorry, could you please repeat? Your voice
Sir,
is breaking.
is it audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Is there any relationship between fantasy and science fiction?
Uh, in fact, science fiction is a genre of literature, and whatever typical elements are there, with which this genre comes into existence, fantasy is one of them. So science, technology, fantasy, reality, these are the different elements of science fiction. And fantasy, no doubt, is one of the most prominent elements of science fiction, without which I think science fiction is not possible. But here I would like to incorporate something to your question, that whatever fantasy or whatever ideology is being presented or depicted in science fiction works or science fiction literature, if those ideas are being presented plausibly or in plausible manner with the help of fantasy, no doubt, then it's good. But if it is not, then people, I don't think that if we deal with such science fiction work or science fiction literature which is highly impossible to believe, then that time we just try to look towards these kinds of pieces of literature as a part of entertainment and time pass, that's it. But whenever we talk about, we have the example of the Island of Dr. Moria by H.G. Wells, where a mad scientist, a mad doctor performs some biological experiments and try to perform or try to come into account or come into existence a unique community or unique gender or a unique society or unique generation rather. But finally what happens, devastation comes out, and he just he's no more there in that particular science fiction. So here I would like to add that just performing that particular what we can say experiment, it could be a fantasy. But now, in today's scenario, we are familiar with DNA, we are familiar with genetic engineering, we are familiar with biological mutation, we are familiar with the switching gender as well. So these things are there which came into account with the help of advanced science, medicine, and technology. But now, when we look towards that particular piece of the Island of Dr. Moria by H.G. Wells, that time we may feel that, or we may have a kind of feeling that it's highly impossible. How is it possible? We are not ready to deal with these kinds of fiction. We are not ready to accept these kinds of things. You won't believe Aldous Huxley was one of the initial literary figures who had talked about genetic engineering and all these things. But up to certain extent it feels that fantasy is there, but if that fantasy has been or is depicted in plausible manner, then that's the thing which gives birth to science fiction. And after having discussed these kinds of things, threads, and issues in particular science fiction literature, that time only teachers, students like you and me may attract towards this prominent genre of literature. So there is a great concern, great relation between fantasy and science fiction. And without fantasy, I don't think that there would be any science fiction. So fantasy has to be there, but it has to be presented in plausible manner. That's it. I hope you have got it.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, welcome.
Excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. This is Dr. Priya.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, I was just observing all your deliberation. It was indeed very, very fantastic. I just want to take one suggestion from you. This is
Yes.
regarding the science fiction from children's point of view. How do you see that, sir?
Mm, Ma'am, as far as science fiction is concerned, here in my state, there are some writers, even in our country, India, there are some writers who write science fiction for children, or we may call it as literature for children. But there are some elements of science fiction, there are some elements of advanced science and technology and all. But whenever we deal with science fiction, which has no any such label, whether it is for kids, whether it is for children, or whether it is for adult, if we deal with it and we ask our children to deal with this science fiction, so I don't think that it is up to the mark, or it's a kind of unwanted botheration that we may create for them. But when we try to insist them, when we try to convince them to deal with children literature, where we have very simple terms or jargons of science and technology, which may find in primary and secondary level schooling. So with the help of those terms, we have the concept of alien and all, we have the concept of another planet, we have the concept of some magical concepts are there. So if these concepts are there in a particular literature, and if children or schooling guys or schooling boys and girls deal with this literature, that's good. It may create a kind of interest, or it may help to switch their approach of looking towards text, looking towards literature, and they may get surprised that in literature there might be something like this, which is the combination of literature and science. So for that reason, frankly speaking, ma'am, as far as science fiction for literature is concerned, I have not read that much, but I have my own perception of looking towards it. We must inspire children, we must boost children to deal with science fiction stories, but not the stories that just I have illustrated before you. But it should have the concept of morality, it should have the concept of ethical practices, it should have the concept of or the jargons of science and technology that we find in primary and secondary level. So if these kinds of things are there, and then our children, kids deal with this science fiction literature, then it would be a great picture, and the future definitely will be bright.
Thank you, sir. Well placed. It was like a tightrope walking. We have to be very careful in presenting and choosing the words as well. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, sir. I hope I'm audible.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. It's been a wonderful experience listening to you. So my question is that do you think that we have now kind of associated science fiction with dystopian fiction only? What I mean by that is that we are just looking at what could go wrong or treat it as a forewarning or things going haywire rather than looking at the progressive aspects of science and how it might improve humanity. It's kind of related to the explanation that you just now gave about creating literature, science fiction, particularly for children. And
Right.
when we create science fiction for children, we would kind of present to them what could go right and what
Yes.
possible good aspects can come out of it. So, do you
Exactly.
think now we have kind of associated science fiction to dystopian fiction only, and that should change, or should it?
No, it should not be like this, because as far as dystopian or post-apocalyptic or devastation, these kinds of themes are there, or some streams of science fiction are there. So these streams are supposed to be there, because until and unless we deal with these streams, we won't understand the significance of science and technology, and the way we are supposed to deal with it. If we just talk about utopian literature, if we just talk about the model structures, and if we just talk about artificial intelligence, robotics, and all these things, and if we never look towards the other shade or dystopian structure, of science and technology, or what could be the scenario if it goes wrong, or what could be the scenario if it goes with someone who has nothing to do with prosperity, society, ethical practices and all these things. That's the reason I have given the example of the island of Dr. Moria by H.G. Wells. So for that reason, I personally feel so. Again, I repeat, while just concluding my lecture also, I have deliberately pointed out those 3 4 points that we are very much agree with the progress, development, and advancement in the field of science and technology, no doubt. Now just today you all tell me one thing, that can we live without our smartphone for a day? I don't think so. I don't think so. We would not be able to live without our smartphone. If we don't open our social media account of Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn or WhatsApp, whatever it may be, if we don't open it for a day, then see what will happen. You just try to do it for 7 days, 1 week, and probably that particular person will be in the asylum after 1 week if he does not perform his routine activities like this. So it has become a habit, strong habit of every individual in this postmodern age. And he just talks, even I also talk about all these things, but I also use smartphone, I also use social media and all these things. So I personally feel that. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. We
Yes, sir, you are audible.
muted.
Yeah. So I personally feel that, but the dystopian structure, the dystopian scenario, it has to be there. And along with that, but before dealing with that scenario, we need to be acquainted with the utopian structure and rest of the positive threats which are there as far as science fiction or science and technology are concerned. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
sharing your valuable insights, sir.
Thank you.
A certain unutterable fulfillment of occasions can only be articulated by inaudible language of heart. I invite Dr. Shri Padma Devi, Assistant Professor in English, to propose the vote of thanks for today's session.
Thank you, ma'am. All's well that ends well. Cheerful greetings to this enthusiastic gathering. When we give cheerfully and accept gratefully, everyone is blessed. With these words of Maya Angelou, I, Dr. Sri Padma Devi, deem it a great privilege to propose a vote of thanks for this national level online FTP on recent trends in language and literature organized by the Department of English Aided, PSG College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. On behalf of the department, I wish to record my sincere thankfulness for today's speaker, Dr. Sudhir Mathpati, for his valuable insights on emerging trends in science fiction. Sir, thank you for illuminating our minds with the recent scenario of science fiction with artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and post-humanism. For sure, it is a thought-provoking session. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, one and all.
At the outset, I would like to express a profound gratitude to our most respected secretary, Dr. T. Kannayan, and our principal, Dr. T. Brinda, for being a great source of encouragement in all our academic endeavors. I would like to thank our distinguished speakers, Dr. Jai Singh, Professor Kishore Ram, and Dr. Sudhir Mathpati for their power-packed presentations. I wish to acknowledge our gratefulness to our head of the department, Dr. P. Ilamaran, for his constant support and guidance throughout this faculty development program. I'm happy to express my gratitude to the coordinators, Mr. Palanisamy and Ms. Mahalakshmi, whose untiring efforts enabled us to widen the horizon of our learning. And also, I take this opportunity to extend my thankfulness to the faculty members of our department for their unflinching support and coordination. Above all, I extend my hearty thanks to all the exuberant participants from varied institutions for their active participation. Before drawing the curtain, I hope all will agree to my following statement. What an eruditic ambience we had for the past 3 days. Undoubtedly, the vibrant lectures by these dynamic prefaces ignited our minds towards the myriad unexplored literary avenues to explore further. With this positive note, once again, I thank everyone for making this FTP a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dear participants, feedback link for today's session will be sent to your email ID entered for today's session. The feedback link will be active for 30 more minutes. I repeat, feedback link for today's session will be sent to the email ID entered for today's session, today's participation. In addition to that, participants who have filled the feedback link for all the 3 days, day 1, 2, and day 3, will receive another feedback link for your certificate based on the consolidated email address. Based on the consolidated email address, I repeat, participants who have filled in the feedback link for the past 3 days, day 1, day 2, and day 3, you will receive another link to the email ID to receive your certificate. Certificate will be issued within a week. Thank you one and all for your active participation. Thank you.